Hello again. The British royal family has some odd traditions, such as cousin marriages and circumcision. These put one in mind of the Pakistani community in this country. The cousin marriages are of interest because they do tend to lead to lower average intelligence over time. And the royal families of Europe, including our own, have been at it for many centuries. The Habsburgs notoriously preferred to marry into their own line. And this led not only to distinctive physical characteristics such as the so-called Habsburg jaw, but also a powerful strain of mental deficiency. Charles II of Spain was a classic example of this tendency, being unable to speak until he was 4 due to a very large tongue and, of course, an extreme form of the Habsburg jaw. He didn't walk until he was 8 and always had trouble even as an adult in talking. His mother and father were uncle and niece, and the complicated family connections meant that his father was also his uncle, and Charles was also his mother's cousin as well as her son. His grandmother was also his aunt. The British royal family too fell victims to the perils of inbreeding within a small group. When one person is a carrier of a defective gene, such as that for sickle cell anemia or haemophilia, then there is a risk of not only passing this on to children, but if such a person has children with a person who shares the trait, then the full-blown syndrome may result in their offspring. Of course, if you and your relatives have for centuries been marrying each other, then traits such as haemophilia may become more common than in the general population. Queen Victoria carried the gene for haemophilia and married her cousin Albert, who was also a carrier. This led to one of their children, Leopold, being born with the disease itself. He died from a hemorrhage after a fall. Because Victoria's children married into the other European families, the disease showed up in the Russian and Spanish royal families too, most famously with the son of Tsar Nicholas, who died in the aftermath of the Russian Revolution. I mention this because King Charles and his brothers certainly seem to be a pretty dull-witted bunch, possibly not unconnected with all that inbreeding. Then there is the weird business of their all being circumcised by rabbis, something of which many people are unaware. Jacob Snowman, as a mohel entitled to be called Rabbi Snowman, circumcised Charles and other members of the royal family. Many people find this odd, and there has been talk of crypto Jews and so on. In July, King Charles opened a new wing of the Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies, a wing which was named after him. This is a strange idea that such a place would name a wing after a kuffar or non-Muslim. Combined with the fact that the king is always saying flattering things about Islam and scatters Arabic blessings about, this has led some people to speculate that he has already converted to Islam and is in fact a Muslim. The problem is that he's head of the Church of England and for this reason is keeping quiet about it and prepared to let his son inherit the title without upsetting the apple cart, so to speak. By this reading of the case, it was his developing cancer and the prospect of death which prompted him formally to change his religion. It will be recalled that Tony Blair, as in effect Catholic, uh, managed okay as Prime Minister. As long as he didn't actually convert, he used to worship in Catholic churches and even took communion there. But he decided not to convert formally until leaving office. This business with Charles might be something of the same kind.